Hello guys and welcome back to my channel and welcome to a brand new fashion trends video. We're going to talk about the 10 biggest fashion trends that you're about to see everywhere this winter for 2025. I do these videos every single year so that you guys can get ahead of the curve, because if you really want to be on trend for the winter, it's time to start investing and it's time to start wearing the trends now. And honestly, I've got some really lovely trends to tell you about, and so many of them are actually so wearable. They're not all totally out there and wild. So I'm very excited for winter 2025 because it is right up my alley. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this video and let me tell you 10 of the biggest trends you're going to see this winter. Starting with number 1. So the first trend we're going to see this year is what I'm calling romantic winter, and it's this lace and silk combination. Think soft, dreamy and unapologetically feminine, but styled in a way that feels modern and wearable for the winter. We're going to be seeing a lot of delicate lace tops layered underneath chunky knits, or paired with slinky silk skirts or wide leg trousers. The key here is contrast. It's this contrast between light, silky, floaty fabrics against the chunky wool, the leather, the cashmere, and that's what creates this beautiful romantic blend when it comes to outfits. If you're not sure where to start with this trend, then try a really silky lace cami underneath a wool blend boxy blazer. Again, it's that contrast between feminine and masculine, which is my favourite style of dressing. It's romantic, but it also has that grown-up feel to it as well. And also, don't be afraid to work with tonal shades. Blush pinks, creams, champagnes, they all layer together beautifully without feeling too girly, especially when you're looking at them contrasted with a blazer or a chunky jumper. So I think this is a really nice one to have fun with this year. Next up, trend number 2, and it is the reign of brown. Brown has officially become the new black for winter 2025. It's classic, it's rich, and it feels so elevated when it's styled right. What's interesting about this season is the range of brown textures that we are going to be seeing. Everything from buttery suedes and glossy satin to those heritage corduroy fabrics. It's all about the layering and the depth and the texture this year. So we don't want flat looking outfits. We want the layers of different textures, the cottons, the cashmere, the wool, the leather, and that is honestly how you're going to make brown, which might be considered a very boring colour, feel and look that little bit more interesting. The trick to making it look intentional is to mix your tones of browns. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you have to wear the same tone of brown. You can really fall into the trap of looking like you're wearing almost a school uniform. So mix up the tones, wear your cool taupes, your rich caramels, your chocolate browns, play with the layering. Because they're all a colour of their own, you won't feel like you're wearing some sort of school uniform or any uniform for that matter. Brown is just one of those colour palettes that instantly reads expensive, even if you're not wearing designer. Brown is also incredibly versatile. It's why I love it so much. It pairs so lovely with all of your neutrals in your wardrobe, but if you are looking to add a little bit of dimension and want to know what sort of colours to pair it with, try pairing it with earthy greens. If you are an autumn colour loving girly like myself, browns, greens pair beautifully together, but also burgundy and navy will add a really beautiful richness and give your outfits just a new lease of life this winter. So play around. Browns will pair with everything, and I personally love a black and brown moment. There's a very outdated fashion rule that you should never wear black and brown together, but I couldn't disagree more. Black and brown is one of the most chic colour combinations you can try. So let me know if you're happy about brown being really in again for this winter, because I know I certainly am. Okay, let's talk accessories because the key bag trends this winter are really defining the whole aesthetic of the upcoming season. So first up, khaki suede is having a huge moment this winter. It's that perfect balance of wearability and luxury. You're going to be seeing it a lot, but especially in these oversized clutch bag styles of bag. They're honestly going to be dominating the high street this year, and I feel like there's something really chic about an oversized clutch bag, just carrying it under your arm, and there's something a little bit more relaxed about them than maybe an oversized tote bag. I think you can really dress them up and dress them down, and I've even noticed the trend now of people wearing structured bags, myself included, holding it under the arm as well. So it's definitely a trend that's catching on quickly. So if you are a fan of these more relaxed slouchy bags, that is how I would be wearing them personally. But on the flip side, we are also seeing the return of a few structured bags coming back into high on the trend list this year. So those top handle bags, utility pockets, structured bags, very much like you might notice my Fendi Peekaboo there. I'm a huge fan of a structured bag. Although it is on trend, it is, in my personal opinion, also a classic. And the two aren't exclusive. An item can be classic, but can also be trending at the same time. So personally, I think it's always well worth investing in a structured style bag like that, because they're always going to be in. They are a classic. They go with so many looks. If there's any trend that's definitely worth investing in my opinion, this would 100% be one of them. But if you're looking for something a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more modern and really on trend, then you might want to invest in an elongated bag. We're seeing a lot of long bags, so think of like the baguette style bags. I've already seen a lot of the longer structured clutch bags that are coming back in, and although it's a little bit more modern, it will definitely add a really lovely twist to an outfit. Now, trend number 4, let's move on to shoes, because winter footwear is really having its moment this year. First up, loafers and ballet flats are still having their moment this year. If you've watched my channel, then you will know that my mind has been completely changed when it comes to ballet flats. I absolutely hated them when they first became on trend, and now they have, honestly, as I look at my shelves of shoes in my dressing room, they have become definitely a staple and one of my go-to pairs of shoes. But at the same time this year with footwear, we are seeing a cosy comeback of Birkenstocks and Uggs. So think shearling lined but practical. And honestly, there's something really chic about Birkenstocks for that kind of off-duty supermodel vibe. I don't know what it is about them. They've got that real essence of European elegance, and I do love a pair of Birkenstocks. When they're styled just right, they are just such a good shoe to have in the winter. And yes, Uggs are officially back, specifically tall Uggs. They're being styled in a much more intentional way this year. So think long coats, leggings, tonal knitwear, and it does actually work. I'm not sure how I feel about the tall Ugg boots because they really do remind me of being at school, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit to a pair of tall Uggs. I do like mini Uggs, but I'm not sure if tall Ugg boots will be for me. But hey, you've just heard what I said about ballet flats. Who knows? Give it a month and I might be including them in a haul video, but they're definitely on trend this year. And on the more polished end of the spectrum, kitten-heeled boots will definitely be having their moment. And again, this feels like a classic to me. I think other than Uggs, there's a lot of these shoes that are very classic and will be in your wardrobe for years and years and years. I personally feel like tall Ugg boots will be that trend that we'll look back on in, I don't know, a year, 2 years, 3 years and go, oh my god, who remembers when we all started wearing tall Uggs again? That's just my opinion. Trend number 5, and this is definitely one of my favourites by far, and I'm calling it the Country Files, but I've been seeing this trending online and a lot of people are calling this the Ralph Lauren aesthetic. And this one's all about embracing that timeless classic countryside style, so it's right up my street. So think classic checks and tweeds and patterns on coats, blazers. It's very English heritage meets vintage Americana. We're seeing granddad style blazers coming back in a big way. Structured, tweed and beautifully tailored. They instantly make any outfit feel more intentional in my point of view. Just throw them on over a knit, some jeans or a pair of leggings and you instantly look like you have tried with your outfit. So I think it's well worth investing in a couple of really lovely tweed style blazers for this season. Then there are all of the countryside inspired items making a return, such as the knee-high riding style type of boots. Obviously I am a big fan, I love a knee-high pair of boots. We're also seeing a lot of the Fair Isle pattern jumpers make a return, which I love because not only are they practical, but honestly I just think there's something really polished and lovely about a Fair Isle jumper. They're also slightly kind of ski season-esque as well, but we're definitely seeing more of these kind of heritage countryside colours, so the greens and the browns, the navies, rather than the bright pops of white that you might see on the ski slopes. Two-tone jackets are also going to be huge, so a slight nod to the equestrian vibe, but just brought to life in a slightly more modern and wearable way for the everyday person. So again, I'm over the moon to see a little bit of an equestrian feel to this winter's outfits. And of course it wouldn't be countryside style or a Ralph Lauren aesthetic without the countryside barn jackets and the wax jackets. So think Barber. I've also been seeing many high street brands bring out their own version of a barn jacket, and not only do these look great styled with your favourite pairs of wellies and leggings to go on a dog walk, they are also being styled in a more sleek and I'm going to say a city style of way. So I've been seeing them with jeans and more sleek polished knee-high riding boots, so they are super versatile. They're not just reserved for farmers now. I feel like this kind of trend is the kind of trend that never really dates. You can look for Inspo for this trend on Pinterest and you can find it probably in old magazines, looking back at pictures from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, and there's always a bit of a countryside flair, and the types of things that are worn just never really date, like the tweeds, like the knee-high riding boots. So for me, this is definitely a trend, if you want to call it a trend, that will be worth investing in if you want to jump on the bandwagon this year, because you can easily invest in items that will be in your wardrobe for years and years and years. I have a Barber jacket which, believe it or not, was actually my nan's, and it's a floor length wax Barber jacket. It's very much more of a practical Barber jacket, but they last the test of time. It was in my nan's wardrobe for years, I've had it in my wardrobe for years, so I am fully on board with this trend. Trend number 6, and we're calling this the belt revival. Belts are no longer just functional and practical pieces in your wardrobes this season, they are the statement piece. So we are officially seeing the return of those wide waist cinching belts that honestly pull an outfit together literally and visually. They're such a good way to define shape over your winter outfits, where you might have a lot of oversized, layering, baggier, looser items. So really lovely to just be able to cinch in the waist and still show your shape, even when you're trying to layer up and stay warm. Just adding a belt on top can completely change the silhouette of an entire look. So you can go from boxy and oversized to a very feminine silhouette and totally change the kind of vibe that you're giving with an outfit. I love wearing belts over my blazers because, again, having the structure of the shoulder, nipping at the waist, coming out again, it's so flattering, and there's so many styles and ways to wear these belts. I think this is definitely a trend that I will be very much into this season. And if you want to go one step further this year with this trend, people are actually doubling up their belts. So they're wearing thinner belts of different textures and materials over the top. So as I've mentioned in a previous trends video, layering is a huge trend this year, and it's even down to layering of the belts. And it's a great way if you want to add a little bit of extra personality or polish to an outfit. Personally, I'm more of a one and done kind of person, but I can definitely see so many of the fashion girlies at fashion weeks doubling up with their belts and really having a moment for the belts. Next up is a bit of a micro trend, but one that's adding so much personality to winter outfits, and that is coloured and patterned tights. It's the easiest way to make a minimalistic outfit feel a little bit fresh and different, and I feel like they're a little bit unexpected as well. Now personally, they're not my cup of tea, but I have seen people pull these off and look amazing. I like to think of them as a bit of a styling wild card, something that instantly takes a simple dress or skirt, pair of shorts, and just makes it feel more editorial. I think they're really lovely to add a bit of an interesting flair for maybe an evening look if you just want that more statement look, or if you want to be bold and go out there and wear them during the daytime, then there are so many options for that too. Shades like burgundy, deep greens and subtle patterns are what we're seeing the most of this year. I feel like they add a little bit of depth, a bit of personality, and they are perfect if you want to lean into the trend without overdoing it. And although they might not necessarily be my cup of tea, if I were to dip my toe in this trend, that's certainly the direction that I would be leaning into to give this one a go. I think the key to styling this trend is definitely balance. If you're going to wear a pair of statement tights or coloured tights, then you need to make sure that the rest of your outfit remains more minimal, more subtle, more neutral, and almost pared back a little bit. You kind of want the tights to be the focal point of your look, and although it's such a small change, it will just completely change the entire vibe of your outfit. So let me know if this one is for you. As I said, it's more of a micro trend, but I do like to include them sometimes. So let me know, will you be dabbling with a pair of coloured tights, or are you going to leave them on the shelf? Trend number 8, and we're going to be talking about the return of silk trousers. And I love this trend because it's all about practicality meets luxury, which is what I think winter dressing is. It's what it's all about, isn't it? A pair of silk trousers have that really elegant and almost effortless drapey feel when you wear them. They're ideal for winter evenings, but also can be styled beautifully for the day. If you want something a little bit more casual, pairing them with maybe a knitted oversized jumper. And again, the key is in the styling. The devil is always in the detail, as they say, and again we're seeing a lot of contrast. So for example, pairing them with a chunky knit for a bit of a contrast in the textures, or layering them with a boxy, more masculine blazer. That mix of fluid silk with heavier winter fabrics just adds that perfect texture contrast. And then when you go one step further and add a tailored coat on the top, the whole look just feels expensive. Even if the pieces themselves are affordable, it still gives off that quiet luxury vibe, which is what that trend in itself is all about. So you don't have to go out feeling like you're wearing a pair of your silky pyjamas with silk trousers. There are ways to style these, and I have a couple of pairs of silk trousers actually that this trend has kind of inspired me to get them out and wear them more again. I would always kind of just put them in the box of being an evening wear piece, but this trend has really inspired me actually. I'm going to start wearing them during the day and let them see the light of day a little bit more. Number 9 is shawls, capes and draped layers, and this one feels so romantic yet dramatic in the best way possible. We're seeing everything from ponchos and oversized wraps to those soft draped silhouettes that move so beautifully when you move. It's giving almost that old school glamour, but in a really wearable and modern way. I've already mentioned in a previous video we're seeing a lot of the coats with the built-in scarves make their return, and they're not going anywhere this year. I've already seen so many on the high street, so definitely grab yourself one if you've been on the fence, because they are going to be everywhere, and I do think there's something really effortlessly chic about them. We're also seeing a lot of delicate lace and sheer layers styled over the shoulders as well, and I feel like that has that vintage, almost old Hollywood style about it, especially paired with tailored pieces underneath. I feel like this is such an easy trend to play with because you can literally throw on a cape or a shawl over any outfit and you'll instantly look on trend and pulled together. It really, I feel like this trend is all about that kind of cozy, layered, off-duty elegance, and you could be wearing a tracksuit underneath and just wearing that drapey coat with the inbuilt scarf. Instantly you'll look polished and pulled together. We've even been seeing these as a hybrid type of jacket and coat. I've been seeing a lot of trench coats with more of a cape style detail. I'm sure now I've said it, you'll notice them everywhere. Yeah, this is definitely a trend that I will be loving this winter. And finally, trend number 10 is all about colour, and the palette for winter 2025 is rich, it's incredibly grounded, it's wearable, it's practical. So the 4 tones dominating for this winter are brown, burgundy, green and navy. And together they create this really elegant but understated colour palette that kind of feels luxurious without being too loud, and it's very easy to lean into the countryside aesthetic with this, that kind of old English heritage feel. Burgundy in particular is having another major moment this year. We saw it everywhere last winter, so it's definitely back and bigger than ever. And I love burgundy because again it pairs beautifully with those khaki tones, with navy, with brown that we were discussing earlier. It also pairs great with your wardrobe classics and your staples, your neutrals, so it's a very easy colour to inject. And in fact, one of my favourite colour combinations for the winter is burgundy and grey, and there's something really beautiful about how they layer on top of each other. So yeah, if you don't own any burgundy in your wardrobe and you're thinking about it and you're wondering, oh, what will I pair it with, burgundy pairs with so much in the wardrobe. And that is the good thing about these colours and this whole colour palette for winter. It's so easy to incorporate into your current wardrobe, to layer over together, especially with different textures, different tones. You can go full monochrome, an outfit all in one colour, and that gives a very kind of sleek outfit look, or you can do what we were discussing earlier and wear different tones to add a little depth and dimension. Either way, this kind of colour story will instantly make your wardrobe feel a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more grounded for the winter. These colours, although they are very autumn wintry, layered together, they look very intentional, and it looks like you've been very clever with your outfits and paired colours together, but they actually all blend beautifully together and they're so easy. Navy and grey is another colour combination that I love. And also with your greens, don't be scared, greens and browns pair together so well, and I am an autumn colour palette, so this is right up my street, but I'm just really glad that we're going to be seeing a lot more of these colours around for the winter. And that is it, guys. That brings me to the end of my winter trends video. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like all of these trends are so wearable. I'm really happy about everything that I've mentioned, so let me know if you will be dabbling in a few of these trends, or maybe you're already dressing that way. I feel like a lot of these would be kind of outfits and trends that I'd already be adopting into my kind of wardrobe anyway, and it's really nice to see fashion lean into that classic and heritage style. So I'm all for winter 2025 fashion, but let me know if you feel the same. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here, so I hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.